Billionaire asks, "Who made this dish?" The black waitress who prepared it surprises everyone. What if a single bite of food could change someone's entire life forever? That's exactly what happened on a quiet Tuesday evening at Rosemary's Kitchen, a small family restaurant tucked away on the outskirts of Atlanta. The autumn rain tapped gently against the windows as 63-year-old Maya Williams wiped down her last table of the night, her worn hands moving with the practiced grace of someone who'd been serving others for over 4 decades. She'd worked double shifts all week, saving every penny for her granddaughter's college textbooks, never imagining that in just a few minutes, a stranger would walk through those doors and ask a simple question that would turn her world upside down. The aroma of her grandmother's secret jambalaya recipe still lingered in the air, the same recipe she'd been perfecting in the restaurant's kitchen whenever the chef stepped away. Little did Maya know, that familiar scent was about to catch the attention of someone who could change everything. "Where are you watching from tonight?" Maya had always been more than just a waitress at Rosemary's Kitchen. For 15 years, she'd watched over the small restaurant like it was her own family, arriving early to help with prep work and staying late to make sure everything was spotless. The owner, Mrs. Chen, had become like a sister to her, and when the head chef called in sick or needed a break, Maya would slip into the kitchen and work her magic with the recipes her grandmother had taught her back in New Orleans. Her jambalaya was something special. Even the regular customers would ask if Maya was cooking that night, because somehow her version tasted different from everyone else's. She'd learned the recipe by watching her grandmother's weathered hands dance over the stove, adding a pinch of this and a dash of that, never measuring but always knowing exactly what the dish needed. Maya had that same intuition, that same love that went into every grain of rice. That Tuesday evening started like any other. The dinner rush had died down, and only a few tables remained occupied. Maya was humming softly to herself, thinking about her granddaughter Jasmine who was struggling to afford her second year of nursing school. Every tip Maya earned went straight into an envelope marked, "Jasmine's Future," hidden in her small apartment's kitchen drawer. Then the door chimed, and in walked a man in an expensive charcoal suit, his silver hair perfectly styled despite the rain. He looked around the modest restaurant with curious eyes, taking in the mismatched chairs and the faded photographs of Louisiana that decorated the walls. Maya approached his table with her usual warm smile, offering him a menu and a glass of water. "Good evening, sir. What can I get started for you tonight?" The man glanced at the menu briefly, then looked directly at Maya. "I keep smelling something incredible. Something with rice and spices. Do you know what that might be?" Maya's heart skipped. The jambalaya. She'd made a small batch earlier when Mrs. Chen had asked her to help out in the kitchen during the chef's break. But it wasn't officially on the menu tonight. Maya hesitated, wringing her hands in her apron. "Well, sir, that would be jambalaya, but I'm afraid we're not officially serving it tonight. Our chef prepared other specials, and—" "You made it, didn't you?" the man interrupted gently, his eyes twinkling with something that looked like recognition. "I can tell by the way your face lit up when you mentioned it." Heat rose in Maya's cheeks. She'd always been told to stay in her lane, to take orders and clear tables, not to mention her cooking. "I did make a small batch earlier, but I'm just a waitress, sir. I was helping out when we got busy." The man leaned forward, his expression earnest. "Would it be possible for me to try some? I've been searching for authentic jambalaya for months. My late wife used to make something that smelled just like what's coming from your kitchen." Something in his voice, a gentle sadness mixed with hope, touched Maya's heart. She excused herself and hurried to the kitchen, ladling a generous portion of her jambalaya into a bowl. Her hands trembled slightly as she arranged it carefully on the plate, adding a small piece of cornbread she'd baked fresh that morning. When she set the dish in front of him, the man closed his eyes and inhaled deeply. "This smells exactly like home," he whispered. Maya watched nervously as he took his first bite. The restaurant seemed to hold its breath. The man's eyes opened wide, and for a moment, Maya thought she saw tears gathering at the corners. He took another bite, then another, each one more deliberate than the last. "This is extraordinary," he said quietly, setting down his fork and looking up at Maya with an expression she couldn't quite read. In all my years, in all the finest restaurants I've visited around the world, I've never tasted jambalaya this perfect. Maya felt her chest swell with pride, but also confusion. Thank you, sir. That's very kind. If this moment touched your heart, please give the video a thumbs up. The man reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a business card, but Maya was too flustered to notice what it said. What's your name? The man asked softly, still holding the business card. Maya Williams, sir. Maya, I'm David Harrison. I own a chain of restaurants, and I've been looking for someone with your talent for a very long time. He paused, studying her face. Would you be interested in running your own kitchen? Maya's world tilted. She gripped the edge of the table, her mind racing. I don't understand, sir. I'm just a waitress. I don't have any formal training or certificates or... Sometimes the best chefs are the ones who learn from love, not from textbooks, David said gently. My wife taught me that. She was a lot like you, actually. She never went to culinary school, but she could make magic happen in a kitchen because she cooked with her heart. Maya's eyes welled up. Sir, I appreciate your kindness, but I couldn't possibly. I have responsibilities here. Mrs. Chen depends on me, and I need this job for my granddaughter's school. David's expression grew thoughtful. Tell me about your granddaughter. Despite herself, Maya found the words pouring out. She told him about Jasmine, about the nursing program, about the struggles to pay for textbooks and living expenses. She told him about working double shifts and saving every penny, about the dreams she had for Jasmine's future. You know, David said quietly, I lost my wife 2 years ago. She always said the most important ingredient in any dish is the love you put into it. When I tasted your jambalaya, I could taste that love. I could taste the care you put into every grain of rice, every spice. That's not something you can teach. Maya wiped her eyes with her apron, feeling overwhelmed. I don't know what to say. Don't say anything yet, David replied. Just think about it. I'd like to offer you the head chef position at my new restaurant in downtown Atlanta. The salary would be enough to support your granddaughter's education and give you the recognition your talent deserves. Have you ever faced something like this? A moment that could change everything? Let us know in the comments. Maya's hands shook as she realized this stranger was offering her something she'd never dared to dream of. Maya looked around the restaurant that had been her second home for 15 years. Mrs. Chen was watching from behind the counter, her eyes filled with understanding and something that looked like pride. The other customers had noticed the emotional conversation, and the entire restaurant seemed to be holding its breath. Mrs. Chen, Maya called softly. Could you come here for a moment? The elderly restaurant owner approached the table, and Maya quickly explained what was happening. Mrs. Chen listened with wide eyes, then turned to David with a protective expression. Mr. Harrison, is it? Mrs. Chen said firmly. Maya is like family to me. She's the heart of this place. David stood respectfully. I can see that, ma'am. And I want you to know that I don't take your trust lightly. Maya's talent deserves to be shared with the world, but I understand if this is too much too fast. Maya's phone buzzed with a text message. It was from Jasmine. Grandma, I might have to drop out next semester. The textbook costs are just too much, and I don't want you working yourself to death for me. Reading those words, Maya felt something shift inside her chest. She thought about her grandmother, who had taught her that cooking was about more than just food. It was about nourishing souls, about bringing joy to people's lives. She thought about all the customers over the years who had complimented her cooking, all the time she'd dreamed of having her own kitchen but pushed those dreams aside. Mrs. Chen, Maya said, her voice growing stronger. You've given me so much over the years. You've been like a mother to me. But maybe it's time for me to use the gifts God gave me. Mrs. Chen's eyes softened, and she reached over to squeeze Maya's hand. Oh, my dear girl. I've been waiting 15 years for you to realize how special you are. Of course you should take this chance. David smiled warmly. There's something else, Maya. My new restaurant is going to feature authentic regional American cuisine. I want to honor the recipes and traditions that make this country's food culture so rich. Your jambalaya would be the cornerstone of our Louisiana menu. If you've been enjoying this story, subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming tales. Maya felt tears of joy streaming down her face as she realized that her grandmother's legacy was about to live on in ways she'd never imagined. 6 months later, Maya stood in her own kitchen at Harrison's Heritage Restaurant, wearing chef whites with her name embroidered in elegant script. The restaurant had become the talk of Atlanta, with food critics and customers alike raving about the authentic, soulful dishes that came from Maya's heart and hands. The jambalaya had become their signature dish, but Maya had also introduced other family recipes: her grandmother's cornbread, her mother's shrimp and grits, and a bread pudding that made grown men weep with nostalgia. Each dish told a story, carried love from one generation to the next. Jasmine had not only been able to complete nursing school but had graduated with honors. She often stopped by the restaurant after her shifts at the hospital, still amazed at how dramatically their lives had changed from that one simple question: who made this dish? David had become more than just an employer, he'd become family. He often said that Maya had saved his restaurant, but Maya knew the truth: they had saved each other. His grief had found purpose in celebrating her gift, and her hidden talent had finally found its place in the world. Mrs. Chen visited every week, always ordering the jambalaya and beaming with pride as she watched Maya command her kitchen with grace and confidence. "I always knew," she would tell anyone who would listen. "I always knew Maya was special." On quiet evenings, when the last customer had left and the kitchen was clean, Maya would stand at her station and whisper a prayer of gratitude to her grandmother. She could almost feel those weathered hands guiding hers as she prepared for the next day, ready to share love through food with anyone who walked through the doors. The envelope marked Jasmine's future still sat in Maya's apartment, but now it was labeled Jasmine's Dreams and was filled with savings for her granddaughter's graduate school. Because sometimes, when we have the courage to share our gifts with the world responds with more abundance than we ever dared imagine. If you enjoyed this story, please remember to like, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe for more heartwarming tales that celebrate the extraordinary in the ordinary. Thank you for joining Maya's journey from waitress to chef, and remember, your talents, no matter how hidden, are waiting for their moment to shine.